Hey, y'all. Welcome to another episode of the WERKin Mommas podcast. I am Nikki Winston and so excited and glad to have you tuning in and rocking with me today. I am here to talk about a plethora of things. I am a certified public accountant. I'm also a CPA exam instructor and coach. I'm a writer. I'm a podcaster. I am a CPA firm owner, and I like to give career advice and share my experiences as a black woman slash disruptive millennial working in corporate America, but also running my own businesses. And one of the things about my podcast is that it's very cathartic for me. It's very therapeutic in a way for me. And so I don't edit my podcast. I want the organic emotion, the feeling, the moment to live through the episodes. And I don't want to edit out something just because I take a sip of water or I clear my throat or one of my kids barges in to my studio while I'm recording. So I'm excited to jump into today's episode. If you are tuning in for the first time, welcome. Thank you for being here. If you are a regular listener, hey, hello, welcome back. So excited to have y'all rocking with me. So let your network know that you are listening to this episode by using the hashtag WERKin Mommas, WERKIN Mommas. Also, feel free to tag me on social media. My handle is at Nick Winston CPA, NIKKWINSTON CPA. You can also find more information about my firm, the Winston CPA Group, about my ghostwriting and content creation services, as well as get right for the CPA exam, all on my website at nickWinstonCPA.com. And you can also find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter at Nick Winston CPA. So let's jump into this episode. Grab your water, grab your tea, grab your whiskey, whatever pleases your palate. Let's go. So I've also received a question about working with recruiters, and a lot of times the question starts with, I sent this recruiter my resume, or I talked to this recruiter, or I met with this recruiter and they couldn't find me a job. And sometimes I stop them there, but I just let them keep going and talking, because a relationship with a recruiter is no different than a relationship with anybody else. And don't make contact with a recruiter with the expectation that if you're talking on Tuesday, they're going to have you on the first day of your new job on Wednesday. It just does not work like that. And I tell people all the time, if the first time you reach out to a recruiter is because you're trying to find a job, that's mistake number one, because this is a relationship business, especially from the recruiter standpoint. And you have to think about their perspective, because they get paid when they place people in roles. So they have an incentive to try to place you in a role. But if you're working with a good recruiter, they're not going to place you in a role that doesn't work for you, that doesn't work for their client, and is not really aligned to what your career objectives are. And I have a recruiter in my network that we've known each other for, I think, 12 years now. She was one of the first people that I met when I moved to Atlanta. And she didn't find me a job right away, but I knew that she could be a great resource for me, whether I'm looking for a job. Maybe I can be working in my current job and I have questions about things, about the market or what's going on. Or when I got to the point in my career where I had direct reports, if I needed to fill a job, I could call this recruiter and say, hey, what are you seeing out there with the staff accountants? What is the market looking like? Do you have any stellar candidates that you can send to me? So first and foremost, a recruiting or any relationship you have with a recruiter, as with anybody else, is a mutual relationship. And if you feel like, I sent my resume and they didn't find me a job or anything like that, I get calls, emails, some recruiters text me, I get messages on LinkedIn where people are saying, hey, Nicole, I saw your profile on LinkedIn, or I'm impressed with your background, or I'm working on this opportunity. Are you interested? And it might not always work. I might not be in a position where I'm looking for a job, or it might not be within the pay that I'm looking for, or there may be other things that just don't work with my career goals. And so just the fact that they found me, that they reached out to me, that when they get these type of roles and they want to run them by me, I appreciate that. So anytime I see that a recruiter is calling me, if I get an email or a LinkedIn note or something from a recruiter, I always reply back, even if it's to say, yes, I'd love to explore this, or no, I'm not interested, because even if that particular job does not work right now, who's to say 6 months from now, or hell, 6 years from now, they won't have a job that's perfect for me. And don't always look for somebody to help you. Think about how you can be of value to that particular recruiter. And then that might come back around and work for you in your favor at another time. And going back to my conversations with recruiters, it's not always about what they can do for me. A lot of them reach out to me for roles that are not even within the scope of what I do. It might be a staff accountant role or a senior accountant role, and they'll reach out to me because they know that I mentor a lot of accounting professionals, and I've had a lot of accountants work for me previously. So they'll say, hey, is your old direct report looking for a job because I have this, or this? Or if I'm working with one of my mentees, I'll say, hey, what are you looking for? What part of town do you want to work in? Is there a specific industry? And I will vouch for them with one of my recruiting friends. Reach out to the network and say, hey, I have Jessica who used to work for me, and she's in the market for a new senior accountant opportunity. She's great. She's this, she's that. I vouch for her work product. What do you have that could probably work for her? So even if that recruiter is not sending me a job for myself, I can at least try to send them a candidate that I know would be great for their clients, to try to help them get some money, to try to help them land somebody and get paid for that. So you have to look at it on both sides and not get upset just because you've talked to a recruiter and they haven't had a job for you. They might feel like there's something in your background that might work for a role that they know is going to be coming available soon. So they can be trying to move you ahead in that process and have these early conversations with you now, so that when these roles come available, they can just slide you right in there for an interview. So don't get these relationships with recruiters twisted, because number one, it is a relationship like any other that takes time to build and grow. Now, kudos to you if a recruiter reaches out to you today and they can have you working tomorrow. That speaks volumes about you and also about their urgency for filling their clients' needs. But that's not always going to be the case most of the time. So it's important to understand what the role of the recruiter is, and also for you to make certain that you are bringing your best self to the table so that they can present you and get you a job and get you paid, and then they can get paid too. So think about that the next time you have a run-in with a recruiter, and don't always look for what can you do for me, but how can I cultivate this relationship, and hopefully in the future we can both be mutually beneficial. So let's talk about it. If you have questions or comments about this, I would love to hear your input. Send me a message, hello@nickwinston.com. You can also catch me on Twitter or Instagram at Nick Winston. And of course on LinkedIn. I would love to have this conversation. I think it's a great one to have. And I look forward to talking to y'all soon.
Thank you again for tuning in and rocking with me on another episode of the WERKin Mommas podcast. This podcast is the business plan for entrepreneurs, the how to and WTF guide for busy moms, and the coattail pulling career advice that professionals need to win in the corporate world. I'm Nikki Winston. I am a mama, I'm a CPA, and a career development expert who put all the what ifs aside and launched my podcast. Do you love this content? If so, I would love for you to help create more of it. Support the WERKin Mommas podcast at buymeacoffee.com/Nick Winston CPA. When you go to the site, click on the support button, and from there you can buy as many cups of coffee or tea as you like. And feel free to leave a comment while you're there. Tell me what you like the most about the WERKin Mommas podcast. Head over to buymeacoffee.com/Nick Winston CPA and help create more of the content you love. If you're a CPA candidate, you can join the Winston CPA exam virtual classroom online at winstoncpagroup.com/CPA exam. Business owners, get answers to accounting and tax questions and how to form your LLC or corporation at winstoncpagroup.com/business. Are you a professional working in the corporate world? Well, there's career advice and tools that you need to elevate your leadership skills. Click on the career advice page of winstoncpagroup.com or go to winstoncpagroup.com/career advice. And of course, for the busy, overworked moms, there is a place where we understand your struggle. Join the WERKin Mommas community for cleaning hacks, quick meals that are nutritious and kid approved, and all things mom life at theworkinmommas.com. We also have a Pinterest board that's called Supercharged Self-Care that all the moms love. So check out our mom life tips over on Pinterest.com/theworkinmommas. And of course, if you are not already, you can follow me online on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter at Nick Winston CPA. Connect with the WERKin Mommas online at theworkinmommas.com, as well as on the Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn pages. Thank you again. It has been fun, and my podcast is a labor of love for me. So I appreciate every single solitary person who is tuning in, and I look forward to you coming back to rock with me on another episode of the WERKin Mommas podcast.